It's the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's the New York Islanders. It's game one of the NHL semifinals. Now, it's a rematch of last year's conference finals. This year, it's a semifinals. I don't want to even get into that. But, guys, let's start with the New York Islanders. And, Dennis, I want to get your point of view because last year, the Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Islanders in 6 games. But it's a series that you think was a little bit closer than people might think at home.
Yeah, after the Islanders took that 8-2 shellacking in Game 1, and remember, Irf, they had one day off before starting that series. They only trailed for 8.8 seconds in Games 2, 3, 5, and 6, and only wound up winning 2 of those games. So a much closer series than a lot of people thought last season, and I think that carries over to this season.
Yeah, there's no question. These are 2 evenly matched clubs because of how deep they really are, guys. I mean, these are 2 teams that roll out 4 lines. I think the differentiator for me in this series will be Andrei Vasilevskiy and how much of a dominant force he is compared to what the Islanders have seen to this point. But you guys are right. I mean, this is going to be a tight series. There's no question about it. I think this is going to be kind of those shot-for-shot kind of games that we're going to see throughout the course of the entire series. It's going to be a fun one.
Now, you mentioned the Tampa Bay Lightning, but I want to stick with the Islanders for a second. And Dennis, let's go back to them because Lou Lamoriello at this trade deadline went out and took care of some needs. And those needs in Travis Zajac and Kyle Palmieri have basically been 2 guys that have definitely put that team above and beyond what they were last season, haven't they?
Yeah, hey, Travis got a goal there in Game 6, the clinching game against Boston to start things off. But Kyle Palmieri's been their leading goal scorer with 7 goals this postseason. My concern about the Islanders, though, Irf, is on special teams. Their PK is functioning at 61.7% efficiency, while the Tampa Bay Lightning's power play is executing at 40%. The Islanders simply can't take foolish penalties. The only type of infractions they can take are ones that stop scoring chances.
You know, it's funny when you mention the Tampa Bay Lightning because, David, it's as simple as this. They're the champs until they ain't the champs anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And to Dennis's point, if you give them an opportunity to pounce, they're going to take it. They will burn you, especially on special teams, especially on the man advantage. This is a club that has so much potency. And, you know, I mentioned Vasilevskiy being an X factor before, but the amount of offense that this team can produce, I mean, granted, yes, they're playing, one of the most dominant defensive-minded clubs in the NHL, in the New York Islanders, but a team that's also been potent offensively. But the Tampa Bay Lightning has so many different weapons that can come at you. Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, Alex Killorn, Andre Palat, Blake Coleman can even get into the mix. Anthony Cirelli, you've got Sergachev, you've got Hedman on the back end. There are a lot of weapons. I can keep going. I'm sure I missed a couple guys, but you can keep going with this club. They've got a ton of offense. And if they're given that opportunity, that any mistake or a man advantage, they will burn you. So, you know, for the New York Islanders, they have to be tremendously, tremendously disciplined in this series.
Dennis, when you look at these 2 teams and a way a series might shape out, a lot of people, when you talk about football, it says the game is won in the trenches. So let's talk about the trenches of these 2 teams and the depth, the bottom 6 of both these 2 forward groups. Who do you think has the advantage?
Irf, to me, the bottom 6 is even, to be frank. That's why these teams are here, because of their depth. I think for me, the matchup that's the most important for the Islanders' victory is that the top line of Barzal, Eberle, and Komarov have to produce, because you know that the top line of the Tampa Bay Lightning with Point, Kucherov, and Palat are going to put up points.
Exactly. They absolutely will. I forgot somebody before. Yeah, Braden Point. Forgot that guy. I mean, there's so much offense from this team that you have to make sure that you're containing the right pieces. And because there's so much depth, I think it'll be certainly a challenge for the New York Islanders. It was last season. I mean, for the most part, these 2 teams are more or less the same. I mean, yes, there's no Anders Lee, but you bring in Kyle Palmieri. I mean, these 2 teams, the core of these clubs are the exact same that we saw last playoffs. So this is going to be a challenge certainly for both. There's different motivation now for the Islanders. They want revenge. I get it. But Tampa Bay is so structured and so potent that it's going to be a tough task for them. Any slip up in any area for the New York Islanders will result in Tampa Bay's success. This is going to be a hard-fought one, guys, for both sides. But I think it's going to be exciting. There's no question about that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, who doesn't love rematches, right? It's a team that's $18 million over the cap, and it's a team that's led by Lou Lamoriello meeting in the semifinals.